Village of Armada regular council meeting will now come to order for February 22nd. Will everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance to the flag, please? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you kindly. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Clark.
Here.
Conan.
Here.
Bullock.
Here.
Ballard.
Yep.
Slutz.
Here.
Felke.
Here.
Show is absent. Next is the approval of the agenda. What's the council motion, please?
Mr. President, I'll move the agenda be accepted as presented.
Support. By Clark. Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. At this time, the floor is open up to citizen comments. We have one citizen sitting in the audience. Do you have something you want to offer to council?
Yes, sir, I do. What exactly is the current format right now? Do we just do it from right here, or?
You're right where you're at.
Okay.
That's fine. We're distance apart.
I will leave it at that. Good evening, President Willock, members of council. My name is Kevin Grand. I'm an Armada resident. Part of the reason I wanted to speak tonight is regarding to the meetings. Specifically, it would be possible to possibly get some supporting material for the meeting agendas posted on the village website. Usually residents can find out about things that occurred at the meetings. Generally those are after the fact. You can go in the newspaper, you can go online. Unfortunately, those are after decisions that have already been made. So given the current environment with Wuhan, I would be curious if that would be something you might be considering putting onto a future agenda to change the policy to include more detailed information. Council packets would be nice if those can be scanned in and posted online. If you have any supporting material, F&B reports, for example, if they can have electronic copies submitted, post that on the website for the residents to review. That would be something else that might be possibly looked into. Thank you for your time.
I'd make a comment on the F&B because that's usually quite lengthy, and that would be very time consuming to print up, and I don't know if there's going to be any kind of a cost or anything, to us either. So whatever the clerk uses or such.
Well, the question for that was, since they usually create the report usually electronically anyway, if they can submit an electronic copy along with a hard copy, and then that electronic copy can be posted.
To tell you the truth, I'm going to have to leave it up to the clerk at this time because I don't operate a computer myself. I don't understand it. Give me a typewriter, I can type. As far as computer, no, out of my field.
Fair enough.
So,
I think he wants to know what a typewriter is.
well,
Smith Corona or is it electric?
Lexmark. I bought a $1,000 typewriter a few years back. It does more than I want. It even makes copies. So, okay.
Back to the vote.
But we'll leave that at this time to the clerk to decide and what is going to be feasible as such for time elements too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Presentations at this time, there is none. The administrator reports will be treasurer's report, commissioner liaison report, and our January code enforcement, which you have in your packet. So, treasurer, you have anything different?
No, just looked
All
at
right.
the packets.
All right, I signed your paperwork for you.
Thank you.
January code enforcement, any comments on that, council? If not, we'll move forward. General business, consent agenda. We need approval of the regular council meeting minutes of February the 8th, 21, and the payment of bills. What is the council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll move the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
And also by Clark. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Old business, which is a sewer plant update, which is Mr. Clark's department, please.
Sure. It's kind of more of the same. They're still working on the pipe gallery. There's much electrical work to be done. They have not started to work on SBR number 1 yet, the draining of it. Of course, we've had the terribly cold weather. The weather is now starting to break, and they're kind of predicting that next week they'll get into that part of the project. But other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay, Mr. Clark, thank you. Next is the water department. You talked a little bit about long-term water works contract. Mr. Belkey, are you?
Yeah, just a couple notes on that. I want to talk for a second about the short-term transition to management contract. Again, that's a contract that we undertook in January, and it ends on the 31st of March. This was to get F&V up to speed, as it were, to be able to manage the water treatment plant and other waterworks activities. That effort's going very well at this point. I do get progress reports from Chris Munson, who is the operator down there, working with Ed. He says everything is working well. He's in the process of making some SOPs now, standard operating procedures, for some of the things that we do down there, so we can get that in a book someplace, and so that we can track. A special interest to me is the various sampling programs that we undertake for Eagle and ourselves to make sure the water is potable. Again, all that's going well. Council had a concern early on about the cost of this. I think we budgeted $18,000 for the 3 months, put some contingencies in there, and there was 10 hours a week allocated to the operator. At least that was our expected number of hours per week. And so we've got 7 weeks under our belt of 12 now. If you did 10 hours a week times $85 an hour, which is the operator's wage, that equals $850 a week. And so we would be in the hole for $5,950. To date, we have spent only $2,677.50. We've done 19.5 hours, so it's going better than I think we all expected. Your comment, Dave, was they should know what they're doing. Generally they do, but it was understanding our operation and how to manage our specific water treatment plant. Going very well, so that's a good news story.
What was that total amount, $2,000?
$26.77.
$26.77. So we're really, we've, to date, if you want to go on the 10 hours a week, we have saved $3,272. So
That's good.
we're doing a lot better. It's not even 50% of what we would have expected to have spent. Just talk for a minute about the long-term contract. The long-term contract is the one that comes on the 1st of April and extends out some amount of time. Steve and I did meet with Blair Seelover and from F&V a week ago on Friday, and we talked about the base contract itself, and we kicked around a number of ideas. Generally, we're looking at a 5-year contract, which is what wastewater treatment has had for the last 5 years. So 5-year contract is fairly standard. F&B, of course, is interested in that because they can quote us a better rate if we go 5 years instead of going 1 year or 2 years.
Well, how about a 3-year?
We could, but the cost will go up. Right? I would expect the cost to go up. We were looking at options because that's how I usually operate in the Army. You do a base year or 2-year base contract, and then you have option years. Option years gives you some flexibility, and
the opportunity to go in and make changes. If you need to change the scope of work, add something, take something out, adjust pricing, that's how you do it. In this case, what we're probably going to do, of course this is all subject to council, is we'll do a yearly review, and then in the contracts that we've had in the past, Steve's contracts that council's approved, in the 3-month transition to management contract, there's an amendment clause in there, and we would just make changes under the amendment clause rather than have options. They're not, they don't particularly like options because that makes them concerned that if they price it for 5 years and we do something for 2 years and then cut them off, now they've hurt themselves, right? So they're reluctant to do options. I'm personally happy with a yearly review. The big sticking point is there's some discussion over language and whether we do a single contract with 2 pieces, wastewater and water treatment, or 2 separate contracts. To me, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. The language could be the same. The concern that they have, again, and I can appreciate their concern, is if we sever one and they've given us a reduced price for 2 operations, because they've got some efficiencies at bay. So if we sever one, they may not be able to maintain the second contract at the price that they've established. So that's the issue that we're trying to work around right now. Jeff is in the middle of it, so we're having some good discussions about that. Don't have anything finalized, but I just want to let everybody kind of know where we are with that. We've got 2 more meetings after this to get it all done. I think we'll be on time. I don't anticipate any problems, but some interesting discussions. And then tomorrow I'm going to meet with Blair again and and Chris and Matt. Steve, you're welcome to attend. We're gonna 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. We're gonna talk the waterworks scope of work. Steve has indicated, I don't want to take words out of his mouth, but you can talk about, he indicated at least at the meeting we had that he was pretty happy with the current scope of work for the wastewater treatment plant. Probably, he may make a few tweaks, but not any major changes. So the effort is mine to get that scope of work defined and finalized. The way it's probably going to come down to is the F&V is going to manage the water treatment plant and the sampling and testing activities and some of the paperwork, administrative paperwork we do, and oversee our assets. And the DPW will manage the distribution system. They're going to be the guys digging the holes, fixing the leaks, and that type of thing. We're just trying to find what's the appropriate split there. So everything's moving along, but we're running out of time. So I got to keep on it and get it done. So, questions, please.
Yes, Russ. So F&V is going to be doing all of the paperwork, reporting that to the state? Our guys will not do any of that?
I'm not going to say that exactly, but F&V will be doing it from a waterworks standpoint.
That's what I mean.
They'll be responding to the PFAS testing, the high hazard cross connections, the arsenic reports. They'll be responding back to all of that stuff.
Okay. So
right. The DPW may do some limited amounts of sampling, turn it over to F&V. So all of the records are going to be kept with F&V,
okay.
with our access, right? So
that's what I want to know.
Make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it?
That's all I got.
Very good, thank you. Go ahead,
Sure.
We're going to go to new business, which is to reconsider and correct the motion approved at the February 8th regular meeting with the wrong PA 33 public hearing date. You want to explain that, Michelle,
I
please?
do. Okay, so at the last meeting, we set our PA 33 public hearing date was supposed to be for the 8th, not the 22nd. All of the paperwork that I submitted you, all the notices for the paper, all the resident notices that are going to be going out next week, all say the 8th. And the intention was to put it on the 8th so we don't have 2 public hearings like that, in the budget. So, trying to be, efficient and ahead of myself, and I put the wrong date in the motion. So, my fault. So, when you guys approve the motion, you approve the public hearing for the 25th or 20, whatever that date is, the second date is in, March.
22nd.
22nd. So,
February.
I talked of March, because,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Well,
So
this is
I
it.
called Pat McGow, who's our bond attorney and who helped us through with this. I talked to Jeff. Jeff created the 3 motions. The first one will rescind, it'll bring it back to be reconsidered. It takes it back to the February 8th when we made the motion, okay? The second one is to amend it. And then the third one is just that President Wolak calls for a roll call vote. He will read what's on there. That does not require a second. It's not a motion made by the president. It's a call for a roll call. We've never done that, but that came straight from our attorney, so that's how we got to do it.
Okay.
So it's just everything went in the paper properly, everything's going, out in the mail properly, everything's printed off, ready to go. I just got to get them in the envelopes, but everything is good. So that's where we're at.
All right,
So-
so we're gonna go with the first action number then, 1.
Yep.
What's council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, be resolved to reconsider the motion approved at the February 8th, 2021 regular meeting, adopting the resolution calling for an annual public hearing on special assessment rolls for the Village of Armada Police Department, Village Police Special Assessment District, my apologies, on March 22nd, 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
Okay, we don't need a roll on that, and I don't believe we need a roll on the next one, but we do need a roll on the last one.
All right. So we'll go with then motion number 2.
No, you need a call roll. You need to have them say all eight.
I'm
Yep,
each
just
one.
not roll,
Right,
sorry.
Right, okay. Well, this is first new to us.
Yeah.
So, well,
Swimming through it.
we apologize anyhow. So, but, okay, no further discussion? All right.
Just
no call
all in
roll.
favor, no roll on this one, just say all in favor.
favor.
All in favor then?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. The next one, just to be safe, I'm gonna call roll on the next one because that is amending that motion and we called a motion on that one. So I think to be safe, we should do a roll on the second one and then the third one too. So,
Council's wishes on number 2, please.
Mr. President, be resolved to amend the motion approved at the February 8th, 2021 regular meeting, adopting the resolution calling for the annual public hearing on special assessment rolls for Armada Village Police Special Assessment District by changing the date of the public hearing from March 22, 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m. to March 8th,
no,
20.
yes,
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 that's,
Joe,
Something's
boy.
reading it perfect.
Something struck me as being wrong there too. Okay, I continue.
No, you're right, March
To
8th.
March 8th, 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m.
Support.
By Clark.
And I'm gonna call roll on this one.
Any further discussion? If not, all, no. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Belkey,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Ballard,
Yes.
Wolak,
Yes.
Sleds.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, number 3, please.
Now you just need to read that, Mark.
Oh, all right, well, we learn something new all the time.
We do. Who knew?
It's kind of complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
it's never been done before that I know of.
Yeah, so you're just gonna say clerk,
Right.
start from clerk.
So the clerk may may we have a roll call on the motion to adopt the resolution calling an annual public hearing on special assessment roll as amended to reflect the March 8, 2021 public hearing date.
Yes, you can. Okay.
Okay.
Wolak,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Ballard,
Yes.
Belkey.
Yes.
Sorry, Ross.
Good, motion carried. At least you asked me.
That was a tough one
I
to get.
did. Huh?
Just a tough
Well,
to say it, fairly easy to do.
Yep. Okay.
All right, so next is gonna be setting the budget for a public hearing. And that date will be March 22nd at 7 PM also.
Mr. President, I resolve to set the public hearing date for approval of the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget for March 22, 2021 at 7 PM.
Support.
By Clark. Is there any further discussion?
It's mine, I need water and sewer to get with me.
All right, all in favor on this? We don't.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You know, it's budget, it's involving money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leave it tomorrow, I gotta pay the money.
yep, you do.
Next is a public hearing date and time to consider for an ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 8, Section 8-1 of the Village Code to change the compensation for the village president and the trustees. What is the council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll resolve to set a public hearing on the proposed ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 8, Section 8-1 of the Village Code of Ordinances to change the compensation for the village president and trustees for Monday, March 22nd, 2021 at 7 PM and authorize the clerk to publish notice of the public hearing in the record.
Second.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. The appointment of the planning commission. We have Mrs. Sam Belkey applying for the position, which we have an opening. And the thing is that the term will be ending November 19th, 2022. And with the subject appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Chapter 2 of the General Law Village Act. What is council's wishes, please?
I resolve to comply with the president's recommendation to appoint Sam Belkey to the planning commission to a term ending November 19th, 2022, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Chapter 2 of the General Law Village Act.
Let me at least just support it.
Okay, go ahead.
Support. Otherwise, I'll get my butt handed to me.
You can give them a long sandwich, it's okay, she'll make it.
Just as a comment, it's so nice to be able to keep the planning commission full of members, because we ran for so long, I mean years, where we were short members. And this last couple of years, we've been able to have a full house.
That's very good and great, thank you. Appreciate her putting forth a good effort.
She's
I think
retired now,
Sam's gonna be
so-
great.
She's got a lot of knowledge,
She does, yeah.
she's worked for different municipalities, she's aware, she'll be able to hit the ground running.
Yeah, she'll be
Wasn't she on our
great.
planning commission once before, or that was maybe council's what I'm thinking of. Was she on planning?
Yeah, she was on council.
Yeah,
Ross was on planning
Yeah.
commission.
yeah, I was planning for a long time.
But she worked in the township too, so.
She worked at the township,
Yeah.
she worked at what, Algonac,
I'm
or?
an act clerk.
Yeah, no, she'll do great.
So she's been around and she should be well qualified.
Yep.
She has a very great span of knowledge of government. So,
Yep.
what I've talked to her in the past, she's done wonders with. And then when she handled the concert in the park, that took off flying.
Yep,
When she handled that, that was flying.
well, she's the one that set it up for what we're doing now.
Right, right, so very, very qualified.
Yep.
In all
Thank you,
fairness,
thank you.
Ross was the park commissioner, and I think he made her do it.
Hey, I don't care what it took, that's the best
You
thing
work.
we do. Yep.
That's what a good commander does. Puts the right horse in the harness.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. And I'd like to thank Mrs. Samuelowski.
Me too.
And you will notify her as
Yep,
that,
I
please?
will. I'm sure Ross can
Pass
Ross
on
can
your
probably
kind
catch her
words
faster
too.
than I
So,
can.
That means you're probably getting cookies, so.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short bread.
you should tell her today, you can surprise her with a letter.
Yeah.
All right, well, glad to have her.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
All right, next is up and coming agenda items. Council have it.
Just to rattle them off, you got your 8
Our-
March.
Yep, the
special
PA
assessment.
33.
22 March is gonna be a long meeting. You've got your budget public hearing, you've got your, the council pay public hearing, you've got F&V.
But the next one is the 8th of March. That,
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying, March is
Yeah,
gonna get crowded.
yeah, that's why I did the PA 33 on the 8th.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wish you'd put all those on the 8th of March, by the way.
Very good.
Yeah, I bet you do.
And it's time, the floor is open again to see citizen comments. I was gonna say senior, you're not a senior, huh?
Not by a long shot, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I was thinking of.
Ouch.
No harm done, no Kelly. Council comments at this time?
Just want to ask, did anybody, because time is short, right, and we're really trying to blast through this F&V follow-on contract here starting the 1st of April. We're not doing it short shrift, but if anybody's got any particular questions, you can either give them to me now or later on that I can research and get back to you. I mean, Lyle, your comment, was appreciated. There will be, just say, there will likely be some teething pains because we don't quite know what we don't know yet, right? With Ed going.
You might want to bring Dave to some of your meetings or something.
Ed's been in the past. I can, makes it kind of interesting. I can try to get Dave in there tomorrow. Ed's still in charge, but he's starting to say, hey, don't engage me.
Well, because this will all be under,
Yeah.
Then also, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, am I able to do that? Is Dave, at least in an interim period, is he gonna be okay, so then I will, it's one of the reasons why I didn't do it, because I wasn't sure that, he was gonna be the interim guy. So I will get with him tomorrow morning and we'll,
You're gonna invite him anyhow.
yeah.
I think that's a great recommendation.
Yeah, I do too.
Also, Dave and I was ready to meet with a new labor, and he declined. And so Ed has been trying to get another one. He's not calling back. So I advised Michelle to run an ad.
Yep.
So we have to have somebody, and so we need him now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anybody that's in our community who wants to put in an application for labor, they can call the clerk's office, come in and file out an application, and we will interview.
Okay.
Community events. Council have anything you want to announce? If not, we do have a closed session tonight, and we need a motion on that.
Well, Joe, you mind, my camera's gonna come back on at the end to film
Right, we're
the,
gonna, when you go into the closed session, the camera will shut off, and then we will return to the closed session at the end.
And there most likely will be no
But there'll
motion.
be
no, there's no
motions,
motions, just a
actions
motion
after.
to exit the
No
meeting.
motion, just to exit.
Okay.
Okay. What is council wishes?
Mr. President, I'll resolve to enter into an executive session at 7:36 after a 5-minute recess.
Support.
31.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 31.
Yeah.
Yeah, your 5 minutes will be 7:36.
We have to announce what it's for, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's to discuss employee contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine to
Right.
do.
All right, and I have to call roll on that.
Right.
So, Ballard,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Elke,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Wolock?
Yes.
Okay. We're good.
We will adjourn for 5 minutes. We're now back in session after the, what the hell we have?
Adjournment, it's just adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn.
What time?
8:26.
Support?
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
There's been no action, no motions in this.
No actions, no motions as to the employee negotiations or contracts.
We can't make any, can we?
No.
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 Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.